Hey, what's going on, peoples? It's John D, one half of Sticks and Stones Gaming, and I'm coming at you today with my Sifu review. This is a good time, man. Sifu is a good time. But before we get into all of that, all the politics and all that stuff, it'd be dope if you shoot us a like and a subscribe, click on buttons, comment, talk to us, man. Let us know what you're playing. Also, let us know if you're trying to play some games with us. I mean, we're trying to play some games out here with people. I need some new friends. This is strictly for me. I need new friends online. But either way, let's dive right into it. So the length of this game, man, I'll keep it honest. I think it took about 3 to 5 hours, maybe give or take, maybe a little more or less for me. I went into this game knowing I needed to platinum it. And I sure enough did. I spent a lot of time running through replaying it. But the good thing about that is there wasn't a single second where I wasn't enjoying myself. Like, I enjoyed every second of this game. Story. The story's for anyone who loves kung fu classics and sci-fi. Though it's straight to the point, it's fun, it's refreshing, and kicks as much ass as the main character does, or even as much as the game does to you before you get good. You got all the simple writing of like a typical old school kung fu revenge flick, told through cutscenes. I mean, there's a few cutscenes, but it's more so told through the character's growth, like the environment, and especially the collectibles. Everything plays a role in the story, so that's the one thing that I can say, that I can link all the aspects of it. It's very cohesive. The gameplay, for those who know, is Absolver mixed with some Souls. Kind of. Like, it's not full-on Souls. You're not resting at fireplaces, but it is punishing, and when you die, you know, it kicks your ass a lot more when you die than when you're just kind of coasting. You got a guy who already can throw hands fighting against a well-balanced variety of other people who can scrap, you know, in large numbers too. But they also come with unique features and styles too, as far as how they look, the way they fight, and just if they're using weapons or not. Some of them even pick up weapons. It gets stressful at times, but it's all very fluid. It's all very unique. What sets this game apart from, you know, typical beat 'em ups and such is the Souls similar aspect, as to where every time you die or get KO'd, your character ages. You start off at 20 and you max out pretty much whenever you die after 70. If you die after 70, whether you hit 71, 72, depending on your multiplier, you're done. You after 70, you're done. The deaths, they stack years onto you that comes from your life. For example, if you die once, it takes 1 year off. But if you die again, like back to back, without kind of scratching that death off your conscious, you can knock deaths and multipliers off your conscious by defeating mini bosses and stuff like that. The next time you die, it counts as 2 years off your life, and so on and so forth. It just keeps stacking. So you can't go on like a loser spree, or else it's gonna punish the shit out of you. Every decade, your character decreases his hit points, but he increases in strength. So he gets stronger, but you can't take as many hits on some like old man strength type shit. Like an old dude will run your fade, but if you get one good lick in there, he's going to sleep. Like it's night. You know, that's part of his sauce and his swag. The gameplay is fast. It's always exciting. And when you get good, you feel like a boss. Like, you'll be parrying shit and dodging attacks and punishing the hell out of these weak ass henchmen. And it never gets old. To add to the complexity of these things that are unlockables, the moves that you can get based off of how well you're playing, these unlocks are dope too, because they start off as temporary. You can test them out if you use a couple of points that you get based off how you play, experience points and some other things. I don't need to dive into it. You'll see it if you play it. But you can unlock these things at first at base value. But if you want to keep certain moves like permanently that'll carry on after you die, then you got to throw mad extra points into it. And you kind of got to go through the game fighting everything. You can't really go through with shortcuts and things like that. You get combos, you get like nut punches, weapon finishers, and all these badass focus moves that give you a bit of a chance when fighting to control the situation a bit better. Tack on these collectibles that are, you know, clever aspects that encourage backtracking or shortcut unlocks that get you straight to the boss. And you got a really well thought out game. Like, everything makes sense. To add to all this chaos, you have a simple task of finishing off the 5 main bosses. 5 levels, each of them type long. If you're not using the shortcuts that you unlock, they'll get you to one of these 5 bosses, and they all offer up this grand cinematic experience, the best climax for each level. It all feels worth it. They're super tough too, especially when you first get to them and you have no idea what they're gonna throw at you. They start busting your ass. You got to really focus in and get on board with the flow of how each boss fights and what they do. And honestly, it plays out like a beautiful song. I can just loop fighting them over and over again. I mean, I did loop fighting them over and over again because it's what I had to do to get good. But it also, you get this feeling of like, yo, I'm the fucking man. You feel like a dude who learned his opponents. You know, you had that one up on them, and that's being able to die and replay it and get older and shit like that. But it's really dope, especially the last boss. I will tell you, playing this game to play the last boss is worth it. The last boss is a fucking experience. That shit is like a movie, bro. Like any Bruce Lee speech about water, it has to do with this fight. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of energy. Dialogue is cool. It's simple. It's not enough to full on remember people's voices and such, but it also won't take you out of the game or anything like that. Like, it just fits. It gets the story across depending on the pace that you're playing, and it doesn't really interrupt you or ruin how you decide to run through the game. So, I mean, it just is what it is. Controls felt great. Even when adding moves to the list, it never felt awkward or like I have to memorize things. I wasn't slipping up or anything like that. All the moves flowed into my hands smoothly, and off rip before when I started the tutorial, I guess you would call it, I knew the buttons. I like knew what was going on. I felt the buttons. I had no problem adjusting. I felt like I knew the buttons before I saw the game tell me what to press. Add that dope ass noisy moving PlayStation 5 controller doing what it does to make things even better. You know what I'm saying? It adds to that experience and it makes things super comfortable. I will say for development, I felt that shit. Not only did my character evolve with the game or even grow a beard if I was dying too much, I was evolving with the game and I also grew a beard. I went from starting levels excited, but like a little nervous and getting my ass handed to me, to just wiping out mobs of cats and bosses without even breaking a sweat. Sometimes I even caught myself posing and doing like, you know, air kung fu and in my living room after just finishing perfect combos and just set pieces that just felt great. Like, it's a good time, man. And as your character gets through these levels, unlock upgrades, shortcuts and all that, you see it happening, but you feel it. You know what I'm saying? You feel like you're progressing. You feel like as he's gaining information, you are too. And it feels like I was a part of it. I was a part of the ins and out of an old school revenge movie montage where the main character ends up yoked. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was there doing those push-ups or punching the hanging meat with this dude. We are one. The graphics are solid. Got a bit of a minor cel-shaded cartoon look, but it also highlights the right details over every detail. And I was a fan of that for sure. I love the enemy design, the variety. I mean, if you played Absolver, it kind of has that feel, minus the masks and all that weird level design shit that game had, just brought it down to reality. And the level design, man, I think I love that the most. There's some great set pieces that are straight out of my favorite action movies. Like, you got the hallway from Old Boy. That shit was super exciting every single time I ran into it. And there were some of their own, like, super imaginative ones as well. It also had moments of realism, and then from that realistic type set piece could jump straight into some sci-fi unrealisticness, but in like a cinematic and dope way. For example, being at the art museum, you're fighting the boss on the rooftop of an art museum, which is just covered in snow. It's got like bamboo and shit, you know, on some Kill Bill type stuff. It looks like the area where she bodied Lucy Liu. You know what I'm saying? It looked like where she bodied Lucy Liu. When you beat her on top of there, she has a second phase, and bam, out of nowhere, she's dressed on some crazy Ghost of Tsushima type, scary killer type fit, and you're fighting her in a tsunami dome, man. It's a good ass time. To add to that, the backtracking aspect's also very cool, man. You got one door that you ran past while you was whooping ass that in the future, you get a key on a whole different level to get through that door will get you straight to the boss fight rather than, you know, running through this long ass level and running a million fades. But that kind of helps when you're achievement hunting. But yeah, it all connects. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like Metroidvania-ish, and it gives you like a sense of fluidity. Like everything made sense to a grand scheme. Like everything was just like was woven together perfectly. Sound design was solid. It never slacked, no matter the environment. The hits felt crunchy, the weapons had a twang to them, or even a slice. The music, the atmosphere, man, it worked with the game, yo. It always kept you in there. And this is one of those games, I mean, the best way to describe it is the sound's gonna keep you sitting up while playing. You can't really relax when you're playing this. But then again, that could just be me. I'm not a kind of person who relaxes. Relaxation is for the weak. The replay value is here for sure. Trying to earn a platinum is personally the best way to experience this game. And for a short game, you can get a solid 5 to 6 hours out of it without even realizing. And learning that I could spare each boss was enough for me to run through this whole game again. Like, to get the true ending, but also it challenged myself. And one of the best feelings in the world was me getting that last trophy, beating the game under 25 years old, man. It's still one of my highlights of the year. That shit felt great. But this game, man, overall, I highly recommend it. I think it's a dope experience. It's fun. You get out some quick aggression. If you like action movies, this is like playing one. This is like being in one. If you're a fan of like the Ong Baks, the Bruce Lees, the Jackie Chans, even like the newer stuff like the Raid 1 and 2, Raid Redemption, shit like that, this is a game for you. If you like Ip Man, this game, you feel like Ip Man. You feel like Ip Man, you know, when he was a hoodlum, when he was a young buck, you know, who just had hands and he wasn't on his focused drink tea zen type stuff. But I highly recommend it, man. The gameplay's here, level design's here, the balance, especially in the difficulty scaling, is here. Even though the game's tough, I think there's a balanced difficulty scaling. It's not like Elden Ring where it's just whooping your ass to whoop your ass. And I mean, the only bad I could really get out of this is I wanted more. I needed this to be longer. But this game, highly recommend you buy it. It's not even that expensive. It's not a full price game. If you catch it on sale, even better. But I definitely think you should play this one. Do not pass on this one. This is a great experience. But other than that, that's all I got for you, man. Show us some love. We are coming back hot, back in full effect, like a nice big warm porridge for that ass. Tune in, stay in tune, and reach out to us. Talk nice. Peace.